Hey everyone, Dr. Frunkey here with a new knife comparison video. It's been a little while since I've done one of these, but I think that this video is very relevant to the knife community. I want to just start out by talking about a knife that is very near and dear to me. That is the Zero Tolerance 0392 BRN GLD. This knife has been with me for a very long time, probably over 2 years at this point. It was one of my very first videos that I ever did, and you know, if you follow my channel, I have definitely got a love for the 0392 series. Now, it's important to understand that the 0392s are a model that is a collaboration with Rick Hinderer, a custom knife maker. It is based on his model, the Eclipse. Now, there's now a second version of the Eclipse, which you can see here, but we'll get to that. But the original model of the Eclipse was a bit smaller than this knife. The handle was smaller, the blade was a bit smaller, and it only came in one blade shape. Now, one of the nice things about Rick Hinderer knives is that they offer a lot of customization options. They offer a lot of different types of hardwares, filler tabs, clips, screws, etc., etc. And they did offer a lot of hardware for the Eclipse originally, but it was still only released in a tanto blade shape and one size. Again, that was a bit smaller than this. And then Zero Tolerance got a hold of the Eclipse, and they turned it into their factory custom series. This has been a very popular series for them. They're finally done making them. They just released, as of the publishing of this video, their last 0392 model, and that's the all black version, the BLK, done in all DLC. I will not be buying that because I'm not particularly a fan of the full DLC look, but I believe that makes 8 0392s in total. So, you know, a whole lot of different options there, and I wanted to compare the 0392 to the second generation Hinderer Eklipse. So that's what we've got in front of us right here. I picked this one up a couple of weeks ago. Very much a big thank you to Madman out there for offering to buy this off me if and when I decide I don't want to keep it. But this is the newest iteration of the Hinderer Eklipse, and it is a hybrid almost of the Hinderer and the 0392. So if you watched a few of the YouTube videos on these knives, you'll know, especially the Apostle P, a lot of people felt that this was the better than a Hinderer. And I would agree with that. In my video that I did, maybe the second video I ever made, I basically called it the best Hinderer that there is, and I stand by those words. It's a great knife, and it has some definite upgrades, if you will, compared to the Hinderer itself. Now, Hinderer noted the improvements that Zero Tolerance made to its own design, and it has now taken those changes and made it a part of its own. So let's go ahead and bring these knives in close to the camera here. I'm going to close them up so we can show that. I want to show you now that the handles are identical. So the size, the shape, the ergos, the cutouts are pretty much exactly the same in terms of the overall shape. It's most notable on this side of the knife. Down to the end there, you know, I think the Hinderer is maybe a little bit wider at the end. As we come up here, the ZT has a bit more of an aggressive chamfering on the back there, as opposed to the Hinderer that kind of just rounds it off there. There is a little bit more of that scalloping going on this side of the knife as well, and it continues all the way up through the edges. But the overall profile has become more or less the same at this point, and that is because I believe that Hinderer has recognized the popularity of the 0392 and has decided to make the handle a bit bigger now to accommodate some different blade shapes. So right away, you can see that this is not a tanto blade. This is what they're calling a trailing point, or their sort of new Bowie shape. And I personally really like it. I have the 0392 Blue Bowie. That one is currently out right now getting customized by Fanatic Edge. And we'll be back in the next few weeks, and will also show up on the channel. But I think that these two knives in particular are the two knives to compare, I think, because of their sort of color schemes and their blade shapes. So Let's get right into it here. The 0392 comes with this slicer grind. It came also with a Wharncliffe and then the Bowie shape. This one is currently only being offered in this sort of drop point, Bowie type blade, trailing point blade, whatever you want to call it. But there will be new additions. The next one, I believe, if you follow the Hinderer feeds, is going to be another Tanto blade shape, so keep your eye out for that one. That's going to be coming soon. So you have some more blade options in the 0392s. With the blades, you get steels that are arguably better still on the ZTs. This one came in 204p. It also came in M390. Both of those are considered to be the best steels out there. They're chemically equivalent. That and CPM 20CV are all exactly the same chemically. They hold an edge. They're really rust resistant, and they're amazing steels. A lot of people consider them to be the very best. Hinderer is still only offering this knife in S35VN, but we've seen them work with 20CV and M390 recently, so there is a strong possibility, even a very likely possibility, that eventually this knife might be released in those high-end steels. But I have no problem with S35VN. Honestly, these steels are so good that I will never reach the maximum potential of them in my uses. And I will say that the ZT came very sharp from the factory. I have applied a wicked edge to it, or rather I've had a friend apply a wonderful 17-degree wicked edge on there. Amazing, amazing edge. This one came a bit dull from the factory. This being my second Hinderer ever, I'm starting to see a trend where they come a bit dull from the factory. But just a couple of touch-up on some stones, and it is pretty darn sharp at this point. I really like the blade profile on both of these knives. The thickness of the blades are very similar, about 0.16 inches, so you're not going to notice a whole lot of difference. These are not going to be the best apple slicers. These are thick blades. They're meant for heavy-duty use. They're meant for tactical purposes. So they're not the best slicers that are out there. They're not very thinly ground, and that's okay. Both of them function similarly in that regard. Moving back to the pivots and the motions and the action, the ZT is still superior. It has the ball bearings, the KVT ball bearings, and a stronger detent. So this thing just flies out of the handle, rifles open, and is just ridiculously smooth. I can just drop shut this thing just like that in front of the camera. Now this knife is smooth. I've carried it now for a couple of weeks and it has broken in nicely. I will say that the action on this is even better than my fatty Wharncliffe that I had before. It really rockets out, but you can just tell that there is a difference in the action. This thing still rides. You can see them in there, the white Teflon washers, as opposed to the ball bearings. I really wish that Hinderer would take a hint from everyone in the community and either switch to phosphor bronze washers or ball bearings. Now, I've got all bronze hardware and a set of phosphor bronze washers coming in that I'm going to apply to this knife. I'll make a separate video on that, a little knife enhancement surgery video coming up on this to see how that feels. This knife comes with a G10 front-facing handle and a titanium scale. It's got a titanium liner on this side. This knife is a full titanium from the factory. So you get an upgrade by buying the 0392. Moreover, the hardware on all of the 0392s were modified in some way, save for the 0392 Bowie. That one was done in plain hardware, much like this, but this one comes with customized hardware. So these range from anywhere from $400 to $450. This one was $425 from the factory. If I wanted to get a titanium scale and customized hardware, I'd be looking at another $200 at least to make that happen. So we're looking at a $625 knife as opposed to a $425 knife that comes with better steel, better hardware, better materials in the handle straight from the factory. So it's kind of hard to argue about getting the Hinderer model. All that's really pulling you to this is whether or not you want G10 and whether or not you actually like Hinderer. Now, I'm a big fan of this knife. I think it's great. It has more customization options, but let's just be honest. The 0392 is still a better knife. So if you're debating whether or not you should buy this knife or this knife, go ahead and buy the 0392. I appreciate you guys checking out this video. I hope it was somewhat informative. These Gen 2 Bowies, these Gen 2 Eclipses are really nice. So thanks for stopping by. Click like and subscribe. Go follow me on Instagram at Dr. Frunkey. And as always, this is Dr. Frunkey saying, Take care.